The Academy Awards, also known as the Oscars, began in 1929. The event took place at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel and apparently lasted a total of 15 minutes, unheard of compared to today's standard of 15 hours. Interestingly, that year featured two categories that would later be merged into what we now know as Best Picture. Those categories were Outstanding Picture and Unique and Artistic Picture. The Academy would rightfully get rid of the unique and artistic category the following year, opting to focus on a single film taking home the top title of Outstanding. What I find so fascinating about this is that it reflects a dichotomy in filmmaking: respect for tradition and a desire to move forward. It seems to me that one of these categories is reserved for what was viewed as the gold standard of film production at the time, meaning the one that had the most impressive collection of successful elements from the acting to the writing to the directing, etc. On the other hand, the more subjective nature of the phrase unique and artistic sounds like it's reserved for the more unconventional, a film that breaks free from said standards, pushing the medium forward while taking risks that may not be as effective or as well received as more mainstream affair. Really, it's all subjective. But what I'm getting at is that the Academy wanted to have its cake and eat it too, simultaneously awarding two films with top honors in the same year for entirely different reasons. They were signaling a message to the industry at large that we can and should appreciate both conventional and unconventional storytelling. Fast forward to 2018, and the Academy proposes the Outstanding Achievement and Popular Film category, an award specifically designed to pander to the mass audience, presumably judging a film based on its box office receipts as opposed to its artistic merits. They would quickly backtrack this decision, as the announcement was met with significant backlash from film fans. I'm glad that they didn't go through with that decision, as I do believe it would diminish the significance of the Best Picture category, as well as the awards overall. If you ask me, Oscars should only be awarded to films that are truly amazing examples of the art form. Commercial success and artistic merit aren't mutually exclusive, but rarely are blockbusters the most intellectually or emotionally stimulating movies of the year. Just going by box office results, these are the films that would have won the hypothetical Oscar. I'll let you be the judge if they were deserving of one or not. But why would the Academy have even considered adding this category to begin with? The short answer is that they wanted to bolster their ratings by adding films to the lineup they think more people will tune in to watch win a prestigious award. As evidenced by the dual top categories of 1929 and the proposal of a similar setup almost 9 decades later, the Academy does want to try and reflect the opinions of as many moviegoers as possible. They're aware the show has a team sports mentality, and the audience at home wants to see their team win even if they have no direct influence on the outcome of said competition. Likewise, as moviegoers, we have no influence on the Oscars, yet there are those like me that get hyped every year about the possibility that my favorite movie will win the film industry equivalent of the Super Bowl. The major difference between the two is that a game like football has a clear winner and a loser. With filmmaking, the criteria for winning and losing is much more abstract. The winners in this case are determined by a panel of experts, individuals that are involved in the film industry in some way, shape, or form, that put forth their opinion as votes. Here's a quick breakdown of how the Oscars work for those that are interested. The Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences consists of just under 10,000 voting members. Those 10,000 members break down into separate categories based on the specific position they have experience in, such as the directing branch, writing branch, cinematography branch, and so on. The different branches cast initial ballots amongst themselves that determine the list of nominees for their given category. Then all 10,000 members vote on those nominees to determine the winners of the awards. Best Picture is the only category that the nominations list and award itself are voted on by every single member. This means that a film like Anora has to receive the majority of votes from 10,000 experts of various fields in filmmaking to take home the top prize. That's why I think it's an impressive achievement for anybody that receives an Oscar. They're being recognized for excellence by thousands of their peers who presumably know what they're talking about. But do they really? I'll be honest, as somebody who disagrees with the latest pick for the top prize, I'm inclined to go on a rant about how Hollywood is filled with self-aggrandizing, narcissistic virtue signalers who still primarily gravitate towards a certain kind of film. But I would have to admit that's my disappointment getting the better of me. I mean, what I say about the Hollywood elite is true, but I believe the Oscars can represent the film industry collectively patting themselves on the back and the excellence of a given year simultaneously. The problem lies in comparing yourself to those that are in the room when it comes to your opinion. The fact of the matter is that our moment to moment experiences as human beings is the driving force behind our opinions. Voting members of the Academy come from a world in which they are literally campaigned to, like constituents during an election. They may have actual relationships with those on the ballot, or like a particular film more than another strictly because of its subject matter as opposed to its execution, because they want to see those kinds of stories being made within the industry they have dedicated a career to. Even if they seem like lizard people, they're still human just like you and me, and bias is always a factor. While I may wish that every single one of my choices go home a winner, what's great about the Oscars for me is the coin toss that is my opinion versus the collective decision of the Academy voters. As stupid as this is, when my ballot lines up with the winners, it does make me feel validated for championing those choices. Like I understand something about film, because Birdman obviously deserved to win Best Picture. Stupider still is the inverse. That moment when the name I was expecting isn't called, and suddenly I feel like I don't understand anything about movies at all. It's all part of the fun, and while I've come to take them less seriously over the years, I do still think that kind of recognition from their peers is something to be celebrated. What's important to remember is that the awards themselves should never be a signifier of a film's quality. Zoe Saldana's Best Supporting Actress win this year, for the dumpster fire that is Amelia Perez, can attest to that. On the contrary, here are a few of my favorites from the last couple of years that I bet most Academy members have never even heard of. These are amazing films, oftentimes far better, in my opinion, than the Oscars lineup for their respective years. The Oscars are a litmus test for what the industry is responding to at the moment, and possibly even a hint of what's to come. When I particularly love a film, or even just a specific element of a film, it is a bit of a rush to see something I think of as excellent be rewarded as such. But at the end of the day, there are so many films and filmmakers that deserve appreciation regardless of statues. An Academy Award can be an indicator of some of the best things to check out if you love movies, but there's nowhere near a guarantee that they will appeal to your own individual taste. And that's okay, because the great thing about movies is that an audience can all experience the same thing together and come away with completely different reactions. I guess what I'm saying is, the Oscars are great and all, but my opinion is the only one that truly matters. Best Picture goes to Dune, Part 2. If you made it this far, thanks for listening to my rambling. I know this video is a bit different than what I've done so far, but I'd like to do more thoughts on kind of stuff in the future, so I really hope you all enjoy it. I'll be back next week with another review. Knowing this guy, it could be a potential Best Picture winner next year.
Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you specifically. Thank you.